The markets are crashing. Billions of dollars are vanishing in real time. Panic is spreading. And it all started with one move: Donald Trump's latest trade war. In a shocking decision, Trump has slapped a brutal 25% tariff on imported steel and aluminum. But he's not stopping there. He's pushing for a reciprocal tariff system, meaning any country that taxes American goods will be hit just as hard in return. The world is in shock. Canada and the European Union, America's biggest trade partners, are furious. Together, they buy over $550 billion of U.S. products every year. Now, they're plotting their revenge. If they strike back, the U.S. economy could take a hit like never before. But then, things took an even crazier turn. In an explosive interview, Trump suggested Canada should become the 51st state of the U.S. The response? Outrage. Canadian leaders are calling it an insult to their sovereignty. Citizens are furious. And now, rumors are swirling. Canada is looking elsewhere, away from the U.S. toward the European Union. Could this be the biggest shift in global trade alliances in decades? The world is watching. The stakes couldn't be higher. If Canada breaks away, what happens next? Will the U.S. economy survive? Or is this the beginning of a financial disaster? Before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss breaking updates on this unfolding crisis. 10. U.S. cracks down with harsh steel and aluminum tariffs. The U.S. has just dropped a bombshell on global trade, announcing a 25% tariff on steel imports and additional taxes on aluminum. Trump's justification? Protecting American industries and reducing reliance on foreign imports. But here's the catch. America's closest allies, not just its competitors, are bearing the brunt of these tariffs. Canada, the EU, South Korea, and Mexico, all major steel suppliers to the U.S., are now being penalized as if they were economic adversaries. The impact is immediate and severe. Industries dependent on steel and aluminum, including the U.S. auto sector, construction companies, and aerospace manufacturers, are warning of skyrocketing costs. The price of American-made cars could jump by thousands of dollars, making vehicles less affordable for consumers. Meanwhile, Wall Street is already feeling the heat. Investors are rattled, and fears of a full-scale trade war have already erased billions of dollars in market value. Economists are raising alarms that this move could trigger retaliatory tariffs from other nations, escalating tensions even further. 9. Canada hits back. With $30 billion in retaliatory tariffs, Canada wasted no time in responding to Trump's aggressive trade policy. Prime Minister Mark Carney has slammed the U.S. decision as unjustified and reckless, announcing a massive counterstrike: 25% tariffs on U.S. imports worth nearly 30 billion Canadian dollars. The list of affected products is deliberately broad and strategic, targeting industries that will hurt American manufacturers the most. The tariffs include U.S. steel and aluminum, a direct response to Trump's move; cast iron materials and industrial equipment, essential for American production; computers and electronics, hitting tech firms hard; sporting goods and household products, impacting consumer markets. Carney made Canada's position crystal clear, stating, "Canada will not be pushed around. We will defend our industries, our workers, and our economy with every tool at our disposal." But beyond the economic battle, Carney has also had to address a shocking political twist. In a bizarre interview, Trump suggested that Canada would be better off as the 51st state of the U.S. This remark infuriated Canadians across the political spectrum, with Carney calling it a direct insult to Canadian sovereignty and an affront to our proud history as an independent nation. The backlash in Canada was immediate. Political leaders from all parties united against Trump's comment, reinforcing their commitment to maintaining Canada's independence and strengthening trade ties with partners outside the U.S. 8. The European Union joins the fight with strategic retaliation. Canada isn't the only one taking action. The European Union has officially retaliated, announcing billions in tariffs on key American exports. But unlike Canada's broad approach, the EU is playing a strategic game, targeting Trump's political base. Here's what the EU is hitting with tariffs: bourbon whiskey, produced in Republican-leaning Kentucky; motorcycles, a direct blow to Harley-Davidson, headquartered in Wisconsin; soybeans and agricultural products, impacting Midwest farming states that strongly supported Trump in the last election. This isn't just about economics. This is a calculated political counterstrike. By hitting states that were crucial to Trump's electoral victory, the EU is applying pressure where it hurts most. French President Emmanuel Macron was blunt in his response, stating, "We will not be intimidated. If the United States chooses aggression, we will defend ourselves with equal force. Meanwhile, German Chancellor Olaf Scholz made it clear that Europe is fully prepared to escalate. We can act within hours if necessary. We are not afraid of taking decisive action to protect our industries and workers. As tensions escalate, Trump has already hinted at further tariff increases, suggesting that if Europe doesn't back down, he may target European auto exports, a move that could cripple BMW, Volkswagen, and Mercedes-Benz, companies that rely on the U.S. market. The global economic battlefield is set, and the stakes couldn't be higher. With Canada, Europe, and other nations preparing their next moves, the question remains, how far will this go before serious damage is done? 7. China vows retaliation. Amid escalating trade tensions, China has declared its intent to take all necessary measures to protect its interests following the U.S. imposition of 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum imports. The Chinese government has criticized these tariffs as unilateral and protectionist actions that violate World Trade Organization rules. While specific countermeasures have yet to be announced, Beijing's strong rhetoric suggests that significant retaliatory actions are under consideration. This development adds further uncertainty to the global economic landscape, as businesses and markets brace for potential disruptions resulting from escalating trade tensions between the world's largest economies. 6. Global financial markets react to tariff announcements. The announcement of U.S. tariffs on steel and aluminum imports has sent shockwaves through global financial markets. Investors are increasingly concerned about the potential for a full-scale trade war, leading to heightened market volatility. Major stock indices have experienced notable declines, reflecting fears of slower economic growth and rising inflation. Additionally, the U.S. dollar has weakened, and traditional safe haven assets like gold have seen price increases. The uncertainty surrounding international trade policies is prompting businesses and investors to reassess their strategies in anticipation of potential supply chain disruptions and increased costs. 5. European Union plans. Counter tariffs. Targeting key U.S. exports. In response to the U.S. tariffs, the European Union has announced plans to implement retaliatory tariffs on approximately 26 billion euros worth of U.S. exports. The targeted goods include a range of products, from agricultural produce to industrial items, strategically selected to exert political pressure on the U.S. administration. This move underscores the EU's commitment to defending its economic interests and maintaining a rules-based international trade system. The escalating tit-for-tat measures between major economies are raising concerns about the potential for a prolonged trade conflict with widespread economic repercussions. 4. Potential impact on U.S. industries and consumers. The implementation of tariffs on steel and aluminum imports is expected to have significant implications for various U.S. industries and consumers. Sectors heavily reliant on these materials, such as automotive, construction, and manufacturing, may face increased production costs, which could be passed on to consumers in the form of higher prices. Additionally, the prospect of retaliatory tariffs from trading partners threatens to disrupt supply chains and reduce export opportunities for U.S. businesses. These developments could contribute to inflationary pressures and dampen economic growth, complicating the outlook for policymakers and stakeholders across the economy. 3. Canada strengthens domestic industry to reduce dependence on the U.S. With trade tensions escalating, Canada is making bold moves to protect its economy from American tariffs. The government has announced a major initiative to boost domestic manufacturing, particularly in the electric vehicle (EV) sector. NDP leader Jagmeet Singh has proposed a powerful new incentive plan, a $10,000 rebate for Canadian-made EVs to encourage consumers to buy locally, increased funding for domestic battery production, reducing reliance on U.S. and Chinese imports, tax breaks for companies that manufacture EV components in Canada. This isn't just about boosting the economy. It's about sending a message to the U.S. that Canada won't be bullied into economic submission. With the global push for cleaner energy, Canada wants to position itself as a leader in sustainable vehicle production and lessen its dependence on American supply chains. Industry Minister François-Philippe Champagne emphasized the long-term benefits of this plan. We're not just defending our economy, we're building a stronger, more resilient Canada that doesn't rely on unpredictable U.S. policies. 2. Canada's military push in the Arctic, a show of strength. Trade wars aren't the only battleground between Canada and the U.S. In response to Trump's aggressive policies, Conservative Party leader Pierre Poilievre is calling for a major military buildup in the Arctic. Why the Arctic? Strategic importance. Canada controls vast northern territories with rich natural resources, including oil, gas, and minerals. National security. With growing concerns about Russian and Chinese activity in the region, Canada wants a stronger military presence. Independence from U.S. defense support. Trump's recent remarks questioning why the U.S. should protect Canada have made self-reliance a national priority. Poilievre's plan includes a new Arctic military base to assert Canada's sovereignty, doubling the number of Inuit Rangers from 2,000 to 4,000, ensuring local communities play a key role in national defense. Acquiring 2 new polar icebreakers to strengthen Canada's ability to patrol its Arctic waters year-round. Funding for this military expansion would come from reducing foreign aid spending, redirecting resources back to Canada. Poilievre made his stance clear. It's time to bring Canadian tax dollars home. We need to protect our own borders before worrying about others. This move is being seen as a direct response to Trump's comments and a signal that Canada won't just rely on U.S. military protection. 1. A new global trade alliance. Canada and the EU deepen economic ties. With the U.S. becoming an increasingly unpredictable trade partner, Canada and the European Union are accelerating efforts to strengthen their economic partnership. At the heart of this effort is CETA, Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, which has already been boosting trade between Canada and the EU since 2017. Now, with Trump's tariffs threatening Canadian industries, Ottawa is pushing to expand this deal even further. Canadian Trade Minister Mary Ng recently traveled to Brussels to negotiate deeper trade cooperation with EU leaders. Her message was clear: Canada is looking beyond the U.S. We want to make it easier for our businesses, especially small and medium-sized enterprises, to access European markets. But there's a problem. Many Canadian businesses still struggle to fully use CETA. In 2020, only 57% of eligible exporters were taking advantage of the agreement. To fix this, Canada is ramping up support programs for small businesses, including financial aid for companies expanding into Europe, advisory programs to help businesses navigate EU trade regulations, CanExport grants of up to $75,000 to help small businesses develop export strategies. By reducing dependence on the U.S., Canada is positioning itself as a key player in the European market. This could be a game-changer for Canadian industries, especially tech, manufacturing, and renewable energy. The battle lines are drawn, and the global economy is at a crossroads. With Trump's tariffs sparking retaliation from Canada and the EU, the world is witnessing a seismic shift in trade alliances. But the biggest question remains: who will come out on top? Will Trump's tariffs backfire and hurt American industries more than they help? Can Canada and the EU successfully reduce their reliance on the U.S.? Is this the beginning of a new global trade order, where traditional alliances shift permanently? What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. Your insights could help others understand the bigger picture.